Hello and welcome, lords and ladies, to AoE University. This is the series where I analyze recordings that have been sent in to me and try to give advice and feedback that is tailored to the elo of the players. Our protagonist in this episode is Coldblood. He is here in the teal as the Japanese, facing off against ex-convicted yellow as the Burgundians. As you can see by the elo over here, we were playing around the 1150 to 1200 level. So, above average ratings, but only just so. Alright, so initial thoughts on this matchup. Japanese have a very strong early feudal age if they go man-at-arms, with the additional attack bonus for Japanese infantry. It's probably their best window to do as much damage as they can. The Burgundian player is probably going to try and make the most of his bonus of being able to get economic upgrades one age earlier and for a cheaper price by trying to get at least Bidax in Dark Age. That naturally puts their Feudal Age time a little bit further behind. So if the Japanese player can go man-at-arms and try and hit the Burgundian player before they can get Feudal Age, before they can make their military buildings and get units on the field, that's probably their best opportunity to get a lot of damage. Late game, I do favor the Burgundians. Their economy is just so good, and the Japanese could struggle to get the right composition against Burgundians. Burgundians have cheap paladins. Well, not paladins, but the upgrade is a lot cheaper. They can get halberdier, they can get hand cannons, get bombard cannons. There's a lot of options. And Japanese don't have as many options. They can go halberdier or champions with their faster attacking speed. They can go heavy cav archer. They can go skirmishers. They just kind of lack a really strong power unit in an early Imperial Age. So I think I'd have to favor the Burgundian player, and if you're Japanese here, you're going to want to deal damage early. Let's see what he can see here. You can see his gold is forward and on a hill. That's not ideal at all. You're going to want to play more aggressive this game just because of that. If you're having to play defensive and fight units on this hill, pressuring your gold, you're not going to have a pleasant time. So if you see a gold like this, where it's forward, it's at the bottom of a hill, you don't want to defend that. So just keep in mind you're going to want to play more aggressive. Now, granted, these wood lines do make it, so if he wanted to, he could wall something like this. Not have to worry about it as much. But for now, he's just pushing deer. He's got a mill. Japanese do get cheaper economy buildings. Their mining camp, lumber camp, mill cost 50 wood instead of the usual 100, so that's nice. He's going to push deer in. Normally, you'll see deer pushed in early if you're for a man-at-arms build, which it doesn't look like he's going to do. He's just going to get loom and go up on 20 pop. And that's fine. Over on the other side, we're seeing ex-convicted recognizes that his map is very open. If we look at what you can see, okay, he's got some wood lines here. Man, this side of his map is super open. there's not a lot he can do in terms of walling. So instead, we're seeing a half wall, which is where you wall side of your map and then wall to the TC. Instead of walling all the way around your base, you just make your walls push in towards your town center. And the point of that is it discourages units from running into your base. So you ideally wall in your essential resources, your berries, your gold, wood, and then you just leave the front of your base open because nothing important's out there, and you're keeping everything important defended with your walls and your town center. That's a good move there. I don't like how he walled like this. His gold is also at the bottom of a hill and very easily ranged by archers, which the Japanese player is likely to do. It's the archery range. Don't have any on gold though, so is this a skirm play? Looks like it's a skirm play. Very weird against Burgundians. You know Burgundians are going to try and go for a stable 9 times out of 10. So they can play into the night line, get the cheaper upgrades. So here's an example of these walls at work. Obviously scouts can run in, but will take damage. But you know the Burgundian player is probably going to want to play into knights, where you can get the cheap cavalier upgrade in Castle Age. That's a nicely move. Just gating in the scout. Good play there. Although, you gotta make sure not to chop that tree, which is gonna be difficult. You're gonna have to micromanage villagers. But if you think your opponent's going to be going for a stable and scouts into knights, skirmisher's not gonna accomplish a lot. And he's making archers now after making a skirm, but he was a little late to getting to gold. Ideally, you want to send like 3-4 villagers to gold while you're advancing to feudal age, so that by the time you get to feudal age, you drop your archery range, you have the gold to start making it. Falling off pretty nicely. You're fortunate that your opponent went up super late. Went up on 22 villagers. It looks like he was trying to fast castle, but he did not have his economy set up correctly. This spear is going to open the gate and get a hit, but the scout can escape. But you are fully walled in. There's not really anywhere the scout can. Fine. Yeah, it looks like Yellow here was trying to go for a fast castle, but didn't have the food economy for it, and didn't have the wood economy for the required buildings. So I'm not really sure what the play was here. But that's, it's good for you. You don't want to be defending. So just finish your walls. You don't have to worry about your golds being harassed. Yeah, just finish your walls. Try and get up to Castle Age. And if you wanted to, you could probably go forward with towers and some archers. And that's one of the ways to fight against a fast castle. If you suspect your opponent is going for a fast castle, you have a couple of options. You can either go fast castle yourself and just switch off of whatever build you are. You can go like archers and men-at-arms. Go archers to shoot any villagers that are trying to wall behind, and man-at-arms to destroy the walls so your units can get in. Or you can go forward with villagers and tower. It seems like Yellow has suspected something's up and has dropped a tower. Now, this tower, anytime you see your opponent drop a tower in feudal age, it gives you a lot of information. It tells you your opponent does not think they can defend with military units. In this case, that's true, because yellow doesn't have any military units. So they're dropping a tower because they suspect you have the military advantage. That tells you that right there. You have a military advantage. If that's the case, use it. Find a way for your units to be effective, whether that's sitting over here and trying to range villagers, picking up walls, forcing them to wall behind, something like that. The tower will also tell you that they won't have the stone for a town center, which means one of two things. Either they're going to go to Castle Age and play super aggressive on one town center, or they're going to have to buy the stone back using the market. They also could mine it as well, but that takes a while to do and is too much of an investment. So that tells you that right there. If you see a tower in Feudal Age, either your opponent's going to be super aggressive in Castle Age, or they're going to have to use the market, which is not ideal and probably means your economy is ahead. So a tower means you can't really harass these gold villagers because you can just hop in the tower, but it also means you have an advantage. Currently, you have a military advantage, and then in Castle Age, you're going to have an economy advantage, most likely. Now, yellow could have gotten to Feudal Age and gotten his economy upgrades. Remember, Burgundians get economy upgrades 1 age earlier, so he could have got Bosa, he could have got Heavy Plow, but he hasn't. He's lacking wood a lot of farms because he's got too many on gold. If you're going for a fast castle build, you don't need more than 4 villagers ever on gold. Unless you're going like archers and just staying defensive and trying to get to Castle Age earlier. Yeah, he's just going for a straight fast castle. You don't need this many villagers. You need like 3, maybe 4. So, take a few villagers off gold, put them on wood, you'll be fine. Okay, this is good. Moving around with your units, just trying to poke at the walls. Honestly, you may as well just stay here. Poke at these walls, force him to wall behind it. That's valuable wood. If he's trying to boom, he'll need the wood for that. And it's also villager time that could be used for other things. Back at home, healthy farm count, resources look good. About to click up himself. Finish the walls, very nice. Now, what's the play from here? Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Yellow did go to stone to try and mine it for the castle, or for his town center. And did you see this? Don't think so. So he's gonna run with these villagers. Where's he gonna go? So that's good. You're idling 4 villagers. I didn't kill them, but they're idled, and that's also good. Alright. Our yellow friend made it to Castle Age. He's getting the Cavalier upgrade. I don't like this at all. This is something that newer players can fall into this trap. See, ooh, you can get the Cavalier upgrade in Castle Age as Burgundians. I'm going to do that, and it's cheaper, so I should prioritize that. No. Get your regular upgrades. You need armor. Attack is also great, but Cavalier, do not get Cavalier before you have the first armor and first attack. Ideally, you want the second armor first. Cavalier is more like... It's more of a later Castle Age thing, where you have numbers, you have a bunch of knights, you have upgrades, then you get Cavalier, and they become stronger. But it's not like your ultimate castle play. Like, now you have the Cavalier upgrade, but you've got 4 on gold, you got 50 gold, and you can only afford 4 Cavalier with no upgrades. So these Cavalier aren't actually all that scary. Without armor, Feudal Age archers can actually kill them. They do 5 attack, Cavalier of 2 base pierce armor. So they'll take 3 damage a shot. It only takes 40 arrows to bring one down. So a group of 10 archers can easily take down a Cavalier. So get your upgrades. Get your armor upgrades. You at least need your Castle Age armor in barding before you can engage this. Like, your opponent knows, yellow knows, that there's archers gonna be crossbow on the field, and Cavalier just cannot fight this. There's crossbow, there's pikemen, Cavalier coming forward now. What is he gonna try and do? He's gonna try and raid? But again, Teal can just garrison here. And this town center, it's got Bodkin Arrow. Which means it's going to do a lot of damage against unupgraded Cavalier. Okay, so you got in. You got into the economy. Now you're on damage control. What are you going to do? Garrison your town center. Maybe wall in your wood villagers. Wait, this is a trap. This is a trap. These Cavalier are dead. Right, just re-wall this, and these Cavalier are dead. Yeah, they take so much damage with no armor. Okay, finally getting armor, but you still need the second armor upgrade to be effective here. Back at home, yellow's going for a boom. Got a bit too much wood in the bank. Needs to drop more farms with that. He's on stone. Scout that. That's huge. I'm serious. This is where yellow went with his villagers. Oh boy. Okay. So I did see a Cav Archer. Okay. We're going into CA. I like this play because the Cav Archer have the mobility. And you know your opponent's going Cavalier. You know they don't have very good upgrades. So if you can micro your Cav Archer well, you can destroy these Cavalier. Alright. Now's the part of the game where scouting is going to be super helpful. So let's see what Teal can see. Alright, Teal can see he's being attacked over here. He can see a couple relics, and he knows where his opponent's base is. But these extra minerals, super important going into Imperial Age. And he doesn't know where they are. So, that's one thing. Okay, an outpost here, no good. Put your outpost away from the edge of the map. Because essentially, your outpost is only giving around half its vision. Looks like Town Watch was researched. Which is fine. I like Town Watch. On there. Yeah, put it a little further away from the edge of the map. Oh, a castle. You see this. Okay, this is going to be really important. If you can deny this castle, you'll be sitting pretty. If not, you're risking your opponent going quickly to Imperial Age and applying pressure. If you have enough units, you should be able to deny it. Yellow still doesn't have the second armor. So, these crossbow, CA, actually should be able to kill this. If you just fall back to your town center and garrison, you should win this fight. However, this is buying yellow enough time, he's probably going to get this castle up. Yeah, this castle's going to go up. So that's an issue. It doesn't range the gold, It's fortunate for Teal. But now he's risking, if his opponent goes fast imp, which Teal hasn't scouted his opponent's base in a while. He does not know if Teal is fast imping or if he's booming. So it's kind of an issue. You at least get like one cav archer, just poke around his base, see what's up. So Teal still has the economy advantage. Problem with ranged units is you need a lot of them. Teal has stopped making units. So if you're going for ranged units, it's better to be constantly producing ranged units than it is to be going like 4 TCs like this. Because they're only effective if you have a lot of them. And if you stop production so you can make extra TCs, extra farms, your army's not going to be very scary and your opponent can overwhelm. And then your additional economy doesn't do very much. Getting into the wood line, there's a problem. Yeah, so here's the issue. You've gone for additional town centers on 4 TCs, and that would be fine, I'd say, if you're going for like a cavalry build. That's fine. If you're going for a ranged army, don't do 4 TCs. You need the resources to be producing units. Because if you fall behind in military, your army's not going to be very effective. And if your opponent gets, like, say, 20 cavalier full upgrades, they can fight your army, they can run through your economy. And having extra economy doesn't do any good there, because it's just dying faster than it's creating any income. So, if you're doing ranged units, prioritize military production. So, like a second ago, you were at 70 villagers, now you've dropped back down to 50, and your opponent has the eco advantage. Not because he's had more town centers and producing more villagers, but just because he has the military advantage and has been able to killed a lot of villagers. Like the eco KD, Yellow's killed almost 40 villagers now and lost none. Just because you don't have the numbers to be very aggressive. Castle on this hill's good, but hey, you gotta be producing more military. Pikemen's good, but they're slow. So these Cavalier can just run around and around. And if your opponent's paying attention, your pikemen are never gonna catch. Yellow's up to Imp. Barrel Age coming in. It's only on 60 villagers though. Which is not a lot at all. The problem is, he's still got more villagers than Coldblood here, just because he's been able to use his military. Like, it's a very hard balance to get right of balancing military production with economy production. But really, you need enough military where you're confident you have the advantage. If you have if you think your military's about equal in size, better safe than sorry, make more military units. And once you're confident you have a military advantage, then you're adding in your additional economy, and you're confident you can defend. Yeah, Coustier now being added in. Got all the necessary upgrades, maybe missing bloodlines on these Cav Archer, but he's gonna hit Imperial Age, and he's gonna get plate barding, and then there's nothing you can do. Cavalier with plate barding, just shrug off archer shots, and they'll be able to just rearm. Alright, so at this point, there's not really much that can be done. I mean, your economy's kind of in shambles, to be honest. And against an imp army, can't fight. So, I think what should have been done is forget the 4th TC, don't bother with that, and just make more cav archer. Maybe even before your 3rd town center. Just be adding more cav archer. Got 4 ranges and none of them are producing. Cav archer is tough because you really do need a lot of them for them to be effective against a cavalry army. Bit of raiding up here is good. Got the villager lead again. Now, pikeman defense. It only works because Yellow's using all of his resources on elite rather than more units. So, it's the only reason this works. Also, Yellow stopped producing villagers since advancing to Imp, which is awful. And taking the fight now is not going to go as well as you think it is, because Cavalier and Coustier actually do wreck pikemen. It went okay. You know, there's now elite Coustier is going to be an issue. And honestly, you've only been able to defend because Yellow's not making stuff. He stopped producing villagers, he stopped producing military, and is just moving his army around. Yeah, if he just gets the last armor, then he can steamroll. He's not doing that, he's not producing more units, so been able to defend just because your opponent's been making mistakes. And you never want to rely on your opponent making mistakes. Always assume your opponent's going to play a flawless game. And just play from that. Alright, Yellow started producing military again. And now it's going to be really difficult to fight back. You're up to Imperial Age. But what is that really going to do? I mean, you've only got 150 gold. And not going to be able to afford military. Afford military or afford upgrades. So you're going to be stuck with Castle Age upgrades. And, yeah. Taps out. Yellow is victorious. So yeah, that's something you have to consider when advancing to Imperial Age. If you're going to advance to Imperial Age, what is that going to do for you? That either provides a technology or a unit advantage. So, now if you're going to Imp for the trebuchets, you have a good forward position, and you can use trebuchets to destroy your enemy, great. That's the situation you could go to Imperial Age. But if you've clicked Imperial Age, and you have no gold in the bank, what does Imperial Age give you? You can't afford Bracer, can't afford Heavy Cav Archer, you can't afford trebuchets or chemistry or whatever. You're better off staying in Castle Age. Yeah, I think really where this game really took a turn, probably in mid Castle Age. We can back up to that. Let's see. Alright, it's Castle Age. Here we go. In Castle Age, I think this is where, not really where the game turned, but where probably focus should have been different. Went for 2 town centers, which is fine, but I think really should have focused more on getting more military on them. Getting crossbow, getting bodkin, which is great. And you took a great fight against these cavalier. You know you have the military advantage. If you've taken a great fight, you can see his upgrades are terrible. You just killed a whole bunch of units. Go forward. Be aggressive. Make more military. Yeah, so during this whole time you've been fighting the cavalier, there's been no production. Military units. So I think that's really the biggest takeaway from this game. If you're going ranged units, you gotta be constantly producing. So focus a little bit more on producing military rather than producing economy. But aside from that, there wasn't a whole lot of mistakes. Like, you walled up very nicely. You went forward in Feudal Age with ranged units just to try and poke at his base. It really wasn't bad. I think just neglecting production is really just how you fell behind. And Yellow was able to use that to gain an economic advantage. So yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing to work on from this game. And that's going to be it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate every single one of you. And I'll see you all in the next video.